Yeah. Any other questions with regards to sprint review? One question from my side then, who gives the demo? We are saying that there is a sprint demo, right? Demo of the stories which have been delivered in the sprint. But who actually gives the demo?
Business analyst.
Any other ideas?
Yeah, actually, it is supposed to be the whole team. I mean, including developers and business analysts as well.
Right. So developers give the demo of the what work they have done. So it could be a business analyst from the developers team. It could be a technical person or the developer itself from the developers team. It could be a QC member as well. So there is no hard and fast rule which dictates that who can give or deliver um, in the demo or give the demo to PO. Yeah. Anyone from the team, from the developers team, can give the demo. It's not
Okay.
always business analyst. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to bring in the team spirit. We have to bring in the collaboration spirit if we are working in agile. Yeah. It's not like you are developer, I am QC. It's not like you are developer, I am BA, right? It's we are a team. Yeah.
Yeah, it is clear.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Chetan, over to you.
Yes. In the now let's talk about the last Scrum event, which is sprint retro, sprint retrospective. In the sprint retrospective, we talk about what didn't go well, what went well, and brainstorm ideas for doing better in the next sprint. Generally, in sprint retro meeting, we can also talk about the stuff which is also off topic, like apart from the work. In general, the motive of sprint retro is to build a team spirit into the team and make team members gel with each other. The common pitfalls in sprint retro are many a times people start taking names or start finger pointing. So focusing on blaming individuals is not good, and we should be ideally finding the systemic issues and the solutions which can be for which can be implemented for fixing those. Also, common pitfall is many a times members are not motivated to participate in sprint retro because whatever feedback has been decided in the sprint retro, that is not implemented. So it does not look good on on the business analyst or a product owner's part. Uh, so lack of action is also a common pitfall in this. Yeah, for sprint retro also there are many tools. If one is conducting online, then there are many tools which a business analyst or product owner can take help of, through which he can gather feedback of the stakeholders. Yeah, that is what I have of sprint retro.
Thanks, Chetan. So yes, in sprint retrospective, we do talk about what went well, what could have been better, and how we can improve on certain things if we can. Yeah. So the idea is to continuously improve and not become slave to the processes. So the way or the ways of working. So let's say I'm doing a particular thing in this sprint. We should have an open mind to acknowledge that the current way in which we deliver the sprint may not be sufficient and may require certain changes. Yeah. So the sprint retrospective is the one where we talk about how we can adapt or how we can bring in changes to the processes so that once one we are always alert on and on are on our toes, and second is overall over a period of time will start running the things in a better way. Does that make sense? Any questions?
So in this retrospective meeting, only the team members are, I mean, the Scrum team is allowed to attend the meeting. The no clients or no outsiders are allowed, I guess. Is that correct?
So the meeting usually happens within the Scrum team because outsiders cannot dictate the ways of working of a Scrum team, right? So we said that there are no managers as such. So if we bring in clients or managers or someone else, then they'll start dictating how we do things, right? But the idea of sprint retrospective is to make people aware, to make people analyze themselves how they can improve on things rather than someone dictating it to them that you do this, you do that, right? So if you brainstorm, if you think, okay, what I am doing right now which is making sense and which is delivering value and which is a good process, right? And then if you think what are the processes which can be made leaner, or what are the processes which can be improved. If you are thinking and you are coming up with an idea, then you'll make sure that you stick to that, right? If you obviously become committed to that idea. But if someone comes to you and say that, oh, you have to do things this way, oh, you have to do things that way, right? What happens is immediately there comes the resistance. Immediately you see it as a threat. Immediately you see it as a change. Yeah, and you become resistant to that. So the idea is to motivate people to bring up the idea themselves of how things can be improved. Yeah, so that the commitment level increases. Yeah.
Yeah, I think waterfall has overpowered us. I mean, at least me. So getting new concepts like Agile is very important to us. We are working into waterfall model only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, see, there was beauty of waterfall as well, right? So, in certain projects, waterfall does make sense. In other projects, is agile makes more sense. So, let's not get into a debate of whether waterfall is better or whether agile is better, right? It will take us nowhere. Both have their own pros and cons. It's not a debate topic, right? So let's understand what is waterfall, let's understand what is agile, and then according to my project needs, depending on the situation I am in, take the right call. We can only take the right calls if we are informed of what different options we have. If we are not informed of what different options we have, we will always go with the option which we are aware of. So for a person who has only written user stories throughout his or her career so far, if the person comes into a new project where the person is leading the project and the person has to decide the ways of working, the person will obviously choose agile. Yeah, they will not choose waterfall in any case because they are more comfortable with agile. But if there is if there is a person who has worked in both agile and both waterfall and knows the pros and cons of both, right? Even if you have not got the chance to work on it, but if you know what the waterfall suggests, then once the project comes, you will have better information based on which you can decide whether to go with waterfall or whether to go with agile. Yeah.
What
The
what will you consider most important Scrum event for the success of project?
all are important. There is
Okay.
no uh, see, there is it's not optional whether you are doing sprint review or whether you are doing the retrospective or whether you are doing the planning session. You cannot have an effective scrum without any of them, right? So you do not uh, if you do not plan well, the sprint may fail badly, right? If you do not give the value demo to the client or to PO, then how will they help you recognize, okay, what else could have been done? How can they help you understand, whether there are any business scenarios which you might not have considered, but they are indeed there. So you need to have reviews as well. And retrospective is also important because it helps you to continually improve. If you are not doing retrospection, if you are not thinking about yourself, you will never improve, right? So you have retrospective. We have many people on the call who have done a retrospection of themselves and understand that maybe my current role is not giving me what I want, and that's why I want to become a business analyst, right? So you have done your retrospection, and then you are on the way of an improved path in your career, right? If you would not have done the retrospection, you might be still doing whatever work you are doing, and maybe you are not happy with that, right? Because if you are happy with whatever you are doing, you would not have chosen this path in the first place. So but yes, the first step to make the improvement is to identify where is the problem, right? If you do not know where the problem is, you will not be able to improve on it. And if you do not improve continuously, then over a period of time you'll start lagging behind the other markets, right? We know what happens with Nokia didn't improved themselves according to the market, right? So if they would have retrospective, okay, what others are doing, what we are doing, and how we can improve, they could have survived the market, I'll say. Yeah. So
Right, right,
retrospection is also equally important. Review is equally important. Planning is equally important. Daily scrum is equally important. You cannot skip these calls or these meetings or these steps, because otherwise if you are thinking that retrospective is not required, we don't know what to talk about, then you are not doing agile, right? You are just doing some bits of scrum. So agile
right,
needs you to open your mind to adapt, open your mind to welcome changes, which is not an easy thing to do, believe me. Yeah, even after so many years of working in agile, I still struggle to be open about certain things. It's not an easy task to have an open mind towards each and everything,
right.
right?
So Shipra, I want to ask one question that was asked to me in one of the interview. How do we capture backend requirements? I mean, can you give some insight on this?
How do we capture?
Backend requirements.
What do you mean by backend requirements as a functional
Backend means, see,
analyst?
let's suppose we are building a CRM app. So as a business analyst, we capture requirements with related to UI and everything. Now all the integrations like API integration or notifications like JSON or message queues and everything. So who does that? That's what I wanted to know.
See, integration is different, backend is completely different. You
Okay.
understand that, right? So,
No, no, I don't
whatever,
understand.
okay. So whatever you are seeing on the screen, that is
Right.
your UI,
So that's what
right?
business analyst does, right?
Yes. So, business analyst, the work of business analyst is to do business analysis, to understand the business and understand what the problems they are facing, and what solutions we need to give them, and then document those solutions so that in a functional way or in a user experience way, so that everyone can understand what the requirement is. Yeah. So the business so what you are looking at in your screen right now is your front end or the UI. So if I'm looking at Twitter Spaces, it says recording at the top. It then says Scrum Events, and then it lists out all the participants. It is showing me as a host. It is showing you as a speaker. It is showing others as a listener. So this is all UI. So when I'm as a functional BA, when I'm writing my requirements, I'll be writing requirements like when I open Twitter Spaces by clicking on a particular link, then it should show me the title of the space, and it should show me all the participants. It should show me, whether the participants are in listening mode or a host or speaker, so and so forth. So these are the requirements I'm writing for the front end. At the back end in the database, so all this value is getting stored. So the session is getting recorded, right? So once the session closes, the recording will be uploaded to a shared location. So that is the database, right? Database will contain that this recording for from so and so date from Shipra Gupta is saved in this location. Yeah. So the data. So when I logged into Twitter Spaces, I had entered my ID and password. I gave my Gmail and I gave my phone number, right? So all that data, it needs to be saved somewhere, right? And that is what database is. Integrations, on the other hand, is a completely different thing. Integrations is uh, two systems interacting with each other. Yeah.
Right, right.
So integrations is not database. And I've answered in the past as well how integrations requirements are written, and we are scheduling another session as well on how integrations, data integrations can be written. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's a separate thing.
okay.
Chetan, do you, by chance, you are speaking about functional requirement and non-functional requirement, or backend requirement you are talking about?
So, Tushar, I was asked this question in one of the interview, and even I am not clear about those things now. But whatever I googled, I got that in backend requirement, it means APIs and how to which system architecture you decide, and what will be your data migration strategy if there is any. So that's what I got from the Google search, right?
Okay,
Hmm.
okay.
So
Yeah.
backend is created by system architect. There is a specific person who will decide what tables to be created in the backend and how those tables will interact with each other. What will be the primary keys, what will be the unique keys, and so on and so forth, right? Let's not go into those details, but it's defining the database tables is the job of a architect, not a business analyst. Okay. Okay,
Right.
so we deviated from the topic. Apologies for that. Coming back to the original topic, Chetan, do you have any other events that you want to talk about?
No, no.
Okay. Uh, Let me add one more event to this list, and that is the sprint itself. Yeah, so the entire sprint in itself is an event. So under the sprint event, we have sprint planning, we have sprint review, and we have sprint retrospective, we have daily scrums, and the whole work that is going in, whole development work, whole testing work, whole analysis work, everything is part of this sprint event. So sometimes sprint is also counted as an event. Another thing that sometimes you when you Google it out, it also says uh, product backlog refinement as a Scrum event, but I don't think officially it is a Scrum event, because the refinement is not one day activity. It is a regular activity, and PO can do the refinement of the stories at any point in time, and even the teams can add to it at any point in time, right? So it's not an event in itself. So we talked about grooming session. So grooming is wherein you you read the acceptance criteria to your development team and your QC team, and groom them about, or tell them about the functionality that needs to be brought in. So that is the grooming session, or uh, some people also call it as a refinement session. So refinement is usually one step before, wherein you are refining the story with the PO on how it will be implemented. But sometimes the refinement is done along with your developer and QC team as well, which is a recommended approach, so that in case your solution is not technically possible, you'll get to know about it upfront, sooner than later. So if if you read somewhere that backlog refinement is one of the Scrum events, maybe it is in fact not. Do check out scrum.org website for the Scrum guide, and Scrum type guide will tell you what all official events are. Yeah.
Yeah. If we talk about product backlog, so what is exactly the product backlog, when it is prepared, and who prepared it? I mean, who keeps the track of this product backlog? And then we talk about sprint backlog also. So you can explain those two or three terms: product backlog, sprint backlog, and product grooming and refinement. We already covered.
Mhm. So product backlog is nothing but the list of work that we need to do, right? So it could be a user story, it could be a bug fix, it could be a technical depth item, it could be anything. So whatever work we need to do, we just add it into a backlog list, and then we start picking these items one by one, and we start discussing these items with the client, with our stakeholders, with our uh, customer representatives, with the personas, and we figure out what exactly is required, what is the priority of it, and what acceptance criteria I need to add in. So user story is just one part of product backlog. It can contain other items as well, as I just mentioned. So we talked about project discovery, right? So when you discover the project, you come across multiple requirements. So how will you track those requirements? It is possible that you keep an Excel from it, and then you move to your user story tool, requirement management tool, and then you forget about certain things, right? That is not an acceptable behavior. So what we do is, whatever requirements that we have captured, whether we are delivering them today, whether we are delivering them next year, whether we are delivering them after a few months, irrespective of that, whatever we have captured as a requirement, we just log an item for it in our tool like Jira or whatever. And then what we do is, we you know keep on looking at these items. Okay, this is something I need to deliver, and then you uh, keep take certain items, and then you refine them and you make them ready. So those items will be moved to your sprint backlog before your sprint planning session. In your sprint planning session, you will look at those items. So my backlog can contain 100, 200, 300 items, right? I have time boxed sprint planning session of just 4 hours max, right? So I cannot look at 100 items in these 4 hours. What I need to do is, I need to look at a shorter list. So your product backlog items are moved into a shorter list of the sprint backlog. And then once your story pointing is done, once you understand your capacity, your velocity, that time you decide to keep certain items in the sprint. So those items are left in the sprint, and whatever else was there, those items are moved back, or they moved back either to backlog or to future sprints. Does that?
Shiva, sorry, can I go ahead?
Yeah, sure.